Hi everyone! Today's video is going to be a fun trip to the thrift store with my mom and baby sister. We always have a great time and a lot of laughs. We're going to see if we can find some pieces I can update to decorate my home with. We only have 2 thrift stores in our small town, but they have a lot of great items. This store is filled with a lot of glassware, so many beautiful items to choose from. Baskets are always a fun item to find. I was able to find some really great deals. I don't think I will be able to transform them all in one video. I will be breaking this up into 2 videos, so be on the lookout next week for the second thrift flip DIY video. The first one we're going to work on is super easy. I found this dessert glass. It has a beautiful shape and design, and it was $2.99. I also found this simple glass bowl that has the same tint to the glass as the dessert cup. This was $1.99. So once I removed all of the price tags, I made sure to wash, rinse, and dry all of these pieces thoroughly to make sure they are clean and all of that sticker residue has been removed. Then we're going to take that gorgeous dessert cup, flip it over, take E6000 and put a nice generous amount on that bottom rim. Set our glass bowl directly in the center and then set something semi-heavy so that it will apply pressure and let the glue dry. Now this is a very versatile piece. You could use it as a fruit bowl or a candy dish, or you could even take a battery-operated LED candle and some greenery and have a gorgeous high-end candle holder. But you can use this in so many different ways. It is absolutely beautiful and elegant, and it only costs around $5 to make. This is one of my favorite pieces that I found at the thrift store, and it is this beautiful hanging wall piece that you could put mail in. It has these beautiful hangers on the front. It's actually called a single post box mirror, and it looks like it came from Target maybe back in 2001. I paid $6.49 for this, and I'm able to remove all of those tiny screws so that I can take all of the pieces from the backing out, including the mirror. I am going to save all of these so I can put them back in, but I kind of want to change this up just a little bit other than just using a mirror right there in that frame part. I'm also going to be removing these very sturdy hanger pieces and set those to the side because I want to paint my piece. So I'm going to clean it really well and make sure I get all those nooks and crannies. And I'm also going to remove the pieces from the front. So not only can I clean underneath that, but again, I'm going to be painting it and I'm going to try a new technique this time. So I want to make sure that I can set all of these to the side, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to paint those yet or not. So I'll decide that a little later on. But I'm going to make sure that this has thoroughly dried, and I want to try the Vaseline technique. So if you've never heard of this before, if you want to distress a piece, like I love the beauty of this wood, but I want mine to look a little bit more distressed, you can apply some Vaseline, and when you paint it, you can easily wipe away the paint where all of the Vaseline is. So I'm going to be applying it around all of the lines of this piece. And some of the pieces you'll see that I use a Q-tip. It's because I want very little of the Vaseline there. I don't want to distress it too much in those areas. But then on the outside pieces, I can use my fingertip because if it smears a little bit, it has a little bit more room there. So that's okay if it has a larger distressing in that area. So again, I'm going to go around the entire piece, including that box. I also get the sides and the side pieces at the back. And I'm going to be very, very careful when I pick this up and take it outside to paint because I don't want to smear that Vaseline because, again, wherever it goes, your paint is not going to completely adhere to those areas. So I'm going to give this 2 coats of a flat white spray paint, and I made sure to paint the entire piece, including the back and the bottom and inside of the box. Let it completely dry. Now comes the fun part. Take a clean, dry cloth and just go over all of the areas that you applied the Vaseline. The paint is going to come off so easy. If you want more of a precise line, you could use the tip of your fingernail underneath the cloth and just scrape right over those areas. This gives you the perfect distressed look. Now, I'm going to take one of the backing pieces, and I want something more sturdy, so I'm going to use some chipboard and use that backing piece as an outline. I do not want to paint over the mirror because I want to be able to switch that out if I want to later on and kind of change this up a bit. So I'm just going to take this chipboard and very carefully cut it with my utility knife, and then you can bend it backwards and then cut the back side. This is basically the same consistency and thickness of one of those Dollar Tree signs that you can find. Then I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and just smooth those edges that I cut. And I'm going to give this a coat of black chalk paint. So I'm going to go over this in one direction, and then while it's still wet, I'm going to go in the opposite direction to give me a nice smooth finish. So once that's dry, I have created a decal on my Cricut, and I know that not everybody has a Cricut, so I have this as a free printable on my website. The link to my website is in my description box below. All you have to do is go to my website. At the very top of there, it says free printables. Click on that and scroll down until you find the image that you want. You download it and you can print this on your computer and your printer. And then to trace it, you can use a piece of carbon paper or put pencil markings on the back of your printed out piece and then trace over it. And then you can fill that in with a white marker or white paint. Because I chose black for the sign, the hardware matches perfectly, so I did not have to paint that. I'm going to reattach the hardware to the front, including those hooks, and then we can put our new sign back into the backing of this piece. Now, I am going to make sure that I put that mirror in there as well for safekeeping so that I don't misplace it and so that it doesn't get broken. So when I want to switch those out, it'll just be right there in the frame itself. Then I can put the backing on and reattach with those tiny screws, as well as put the hangers back on. Now I am going to be using some Dollar Tree floral foam. This is the perfect width. However, one piece is just a slight bit longer than I need it, so I'm going to cut that down with my utility knife and place this inside of that box. Then I'm going to fill mine in with some greenery. But if you find a piece like this, you could put florals. You could also use it as a mail center like it was intended to. But I think this piece turned out absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite pieces. And you guys let me know what you think of project number 2. We're going to try that same Vaseline technique on this ceramic vase that I've had for quite a few years now. I bought it at Rose's Variety Store. It came with a set of 2, and I believe it was around $5 for both of them. One's slightly taller. Now, I like the variation in color, but I want to give it that distressed look. So I'm going to start by cleaning it with some rubbing alcohol just to remove any kind of oil from the vase itself so that I can only distress the areas that I apply the Vaseline to. So I'm going to do this in a couple of areas at the top rim to bring out that nice, pretty, light mixed brown at the top, as well as some areas down there where it's darker brown, including the bottom part of that rim. So I'm just going to apply a nice little thin layer of the Vaseline. Then I'm going to take it outside, give it 2 coats of white flat spray paint, and I'm just going to give it a thin coat. It was a super hot day, so I waited maybe 30 minutes and gave it a second coat. And then I allowed that to thoroughly dry for about 2 or 3 hours. Now, when you bring it in, you're going to be able to see the areas that you applied the Vaseline to because it's going to have a slightly different texture to it. So just take a dry cloth and gently rub over those areas, and it's going to remove that paint. It's going to give you that beautiful, natural, distressed look. And I really love that it had that variation of brown color at the top and the bottom. Now, you could display this just as is, or you could put in some greenery or florals, but I think this turned out absolutely beautiful, and I think I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other vase that I have like this that's just slightly taller. This project, we are using 2 tapered candle holders. These were $1 a piece, and they look like they've previously been painted because some of the paint is chipping off of that. So I'm going to give them a good cleaning with some rubbing alcohol so that I can make sure when I paint these that the paint will adhere well. Once that dries, I'm going to take these outside, and I have them on a plastic Lazy Susan. This makes it so easy to spray paint and make sure that you can get all sides of this. And I have that listed in my Amazon store, and the link to that is in my description box below if you're interested. I gave these 2 coats of that same flat white spray paint and waited a few hours for that to dry. I'm going to set this on some wax paper, and to distress this piece, I'm going to be using some Mod Podge as well as some cinnamon. So I'm going to go around the rim, and while that Mod Podge is still wet, you'll sprinkle the cinnamon on it, and then you can shake the excess cinnamon off onto your wax paper. You can add as much or as little texture as you like. I decided to go around most of the rims of the candlestick, as well as some of that detail at the bottom, and then around the bottom rim. This is going to give you that real rust feel and look. And I did that for both of the candlesticks and allowed them to completely dry. So I waited a few hours, then you'll take a clean, dry paintbrush and then wipe any of the excess cinnamon off. This just gives it an absolutely beautiful and realistic look. I am going to be using some of Dollar Tree's battery-operated LED tapered candles in mine, and they are a perfect fit. I hope you enjoyed today's projects and found tons of inspiration. And if you have a favorite, let me know in the comments section down below. I always love to know which one is your favorite. Make sure to tune in next week to see some more thrift flips. Thank you for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.